Alright, today we're going to make some donuts. So we're going to start out with 2 cups of flour, and we're going to add 3 tablespoons of sugar to the flour, and then we're going to add just like a couple dashes of nutmeg. Then we'll get all these dry ingredients mixed up. Mix them up real good. Next thing we're going to do is mix up our wet ingredients. So we're going to take a third of a stick of butter, melt it down, and then we're going to add half a cup of milk, and then we'll add an egg, 1 egg. This is a farm fresh egg for my chickens. And then you'll add your yeast too, and give that a good mix up. Then add that to your dry ingredients. Then you're going to mix all this up. If you feel like it's too dry, then add a little bit more milk. But you'll just get it mixed up real good, and it's going to be real sticky, a real sticky dough to start out with. So once you've got it all nice and mixed, we're going to oil up our table a little bit just to make it easier to deal with. You don't want to add flour to it right now. And I'm going to put some oil on my hands, make it a little easier to work with. And then we're going to have to knead the dough for at least probably a good 10 minutes and really get it worked in. And this is going to get real messy and sticky, but just do your best. And I'm going to use some spatulas and stuff to kind of scrape it together a little bit and keep as much of it together as I can. Then roll it into, I'm going to kind of shape it into a little bit of a ball there. Try to. Once I have it nice and rounded up, I'll put it back in the bowl. So we'll get it back in the bowl, kind of get all the extra, make sure we get as much as we can, then kind of shape it. I shape it a little bit, just then put a cover on it, put some plastic cover on it. And then what I like to do is I like to set it in the oven, but with the light on, the light in, the oven off, but the light on in the oven. And we'll let it sit for about 2 hours and rise. And then after we're done, the dough's risen for about 2 hours. Now we can flour up our workstation, and we'll flour up the dough a little bit, and it's going to be a lot easier to handle now. Then you're going to just work it around, take your roller and we're going to roll it out flat. And if you have a cookie cutter or a donut cutter, you can use that. I just use this cup, and I didn't put any holes in them. I just make them one solid piece. So I just use this cup, cut them out, take the edges back, and roll them back up, flatten them back out, and do it again until I'm out of dough. And I got a dozen donuts out of it. So after I've let those sit for another 20 minutes or so, then I'm going to heat my oil up and just drop them in. Now I don't have a thermometer to really track my temperature of my oil, and you should probably really have one, because I ended up kind of making these a little crispy on the outside because I probably had my oil too hot. But if you don't have a thermometer, it's not 100% necessary. You can just kind of eyeball it, cook a couple of them. If they feel like you're burning too fast, then just turn it down a little bit. I have it on about a little bit medium to medium high heat on this on my stove. So I just cook them in there, wait till they get brown, flip them over, wait till the other side gets brown, and then stick them on a paper towel to kind of drain off and cool off a little bit. And then next we're going to make our icing. We'll start with 2 cups of powdered sugar, and we'll melt down the other 2/3 of that stick of butter you had earlier, and we'll put that in there. And then you're going to put just a dash of vanilla extract, and then you're going to add milk, and I probably added about 4 tablespoons maybe, but it's really dependent on how thin or thick you want it to be. Just add a little bit, mix it up, and then add a little bit more depending on how thick or thin you want it. It's all up to you. So once you get it to your desired thickness, we're just going to take our donuts and drop them in there. I'm going to use some tongs so I don't get my fingers all sticky, and just flip them around in there a little bit. It's pretty easy. Just like that. Oh, got away from us a little bit. And we'll just repeat that for all the donuts, and then we'll let them sit there, and we're good to go. All done. And they looked really good, and they taste really good too. They were a little crispy on the outside, but they were really good. They taste really soft. So thanks for watching.